and welcome to another episode of Under Center with Jake Russell. I'm your host and voice of Tiger football, Collin Sheffield. Alongside me following a big road victory against a top 25 opponent is head coach Jake Russell. Coach Russell, the Tigers go on the road and a little bit of adversity. We talked about it last episode, how you all were going down that day, that morning. So you take a 4-hour bus ride there, you get off, it's homecoming for them. There's a lot of things going on. There's preview day, inflatables, everything was everywhere. You're facing the top 25 team on their home turf, and you come away with a 14-10 victory. That was a crazy, also very, very crazy end to a second half, first half, one of the crazier ones I've ever seen.
Yeah, very proud of the way our guys handled, a tough road trip, all the different elements, as you mentioned, over 4 hours on the bus to get there. A lot of people there, a lot of people out in the parking lot, even 2.5 hours before the game when we got there, tailgating. It was homecoming / preview day, their second to last home game. And so there was a lot of music playing in the parking lot, a lot of distractions that our guys could have kind of fell into. Obviously a slow start to the game. And then it was like boom, boom, back to back. And we actually got the ball back 2 more times. And so we scored twice and got the ball back 2 more times in like under 2 minutes. Very crazy into the first half. Able to come out of that up 14-0 was huge because we knew that they were a team that was going to kind of play a methodical style. Our opportunities were going to be limited. And then we just did some things that limited our opportunities ourselves. And so a few things here and there probably make that 10 or 17 points more on offense really gives us that driver's seat and playing from ahead. And we couldn't quite get there, but kudos to, again, Coach Ford, his staff, the defense. There was 2 or 3 possessions there in the late third, early fourth where it's like, okay, offense, go score and really put the nail in the coffin. And we couldn't quite do it. Bethel's defense played really well. They were really good in the box and then super athletic and long in the secondary. And that gave us some problems. I mean, they did a really good job. Bethel's a team that I think won a playoff game last year, has been in the playoffs a few years in a row, and is a really good program for a reason. Coach Jasper and the staff do a really good job. And like you said, to go on the road in that environment, a team that a couple weeks ago was ranked 5th in the nation for a reason, has beat some really good teams this year, and get a conference win and set ourselves up for the opportunity we have now, checked every box. At the end of the day, we were talking about this as a staff yesterday, is like, nobody will say, hey, you were the conference champions or a playoff team or this and that and the other and say, yeah, but that Bethel game was a little bit of a struggle. It was just a 4-point win. That stuff doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's a W, and that's why you're playing. We'll
take a look at some of the bigger players in this one. 14-10, the Tigers took that victory. Jagger Gillis, 16-30, 216 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. Luke Shepperson had himself a day, 6 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Miles Butler, 3 tackles, came up with a pick there at the end of that first half in what was an insane first half. I likened it a little bit to watching Virginia basketball. If you ever watch Virginia basketball, it's just a real slow, you almost might think it's boring at times, but you were staying patient and staying engaged in the game, never giving up too much. The Tigers didn't have a first down on offense until right around that 2-minute mark left in the first half, which is crazy to think. It was a punting game for sure. Alain Lopez putting on a heck of a performance there, flipping field every time you needed it for the defense to come over and do exactly what they did. And let me tell you, they got into the backfield in a hurry, 7 sacks on the day. It was an absolute lights-out performance for your defensive line and your corner and safety blitzes as well.
Yeah, I don't think we've had 3 or 4 3-and-outs in a total game in several weeks. And then we had 3 or 4, I think, to start the game in a row. And so that was definitely a little bit of a culture shock to what we're used to. I would just say where our team has shown a lot of growth is that frustration didn't, just kind of snowball into letting it affect the whole game. And so boom, boom, score twice in a row. And like you said, now all of a sudden the defense is able to pin their ears back. They had done a great job up to that point already. And, to give up 10 points to an offense that's very good at running the ball and got some explosive athletes. They do a great job with their game planning as well. They carried us. And, we know how good they are because we face them every day in practice. And so, just proud of those guys. It'd probably be, bad on me to mention any individual because there were so many different guys that did a great job through the game, forcing them to try to throw the ball in certain situations, which is what we want them to do, playing really aggressive. And like you said, 7 sacks. I mean, that's kind of the dream for Coach Owens on the defensive line. And it was a little bit of everybody. Like you said, Coach Ford dialed up some great blitzes. It was, a DB here, a linebacker here, and then obviously the D-line doing a great job as well. But overall, awesome day on Saturday. And again, just another step towards all those goals that are now just coming right into your vision and, right here at hand.
Nothing against the guys playing for Lindsay or Bethel, but this has been 2 straight weeks where you're not exactly sure who you're getting at quarterback. Both teams have struggled with quarterback play. You don't know who you're getting. Lindsay was a little bit of a surprise. You thought you might be getting who you got, and then he ends up playing, but you don't have a lot to see on him. Yeah. And then same thing for Bethel. You just have people that you haven't really seen, okay, is this guy going to come in? We're not sure, and then he ends up playing. What's it been like trying to face, a quarterback situation where you're not exactly sure who you're going to play?
I think that's why I was most happy for, pleased for, proud of our defensive staff and players is that, they had to prepare for a couple of different guys. They've had some injuries and some things happen where they've played about a handful of different quarterbacks, and then the guy that actually ends up playing number 18 was a surprise. And so, now all of a sudden, here's this big, powerful runner, a guy that's a great athlete, very hard to bring down. And so it was a total adjustment for our defense on the fly. And our coaches have done such a great job of utilizing now the sideline tablets for the first time ever in college football this year and just making those quick adjustments and calls and getting that relayed to the defense even within a series. And that was a huge thing in the game. But, how blessed are we that we've had the same guy start every game for 2+ years. And then, now Justice playing in there as well has played in, I think, all but the first game. So we've got 2 guys that have been very consistent for us. And it's been a huge blessing for us. And so I don't want to say luck because we've stayed injury-free because those guys have worked their butt off to make that happen and Coach Lay in the strength program. But, yeah, it's been a little bit of a curveball, and sometimes that can kind of throw you through a loop, but our guys have done a great job adjusting.
Quickly, how nice has it been having 2 quarterbacks like that kind of give the team 2 different looks? Of course, we've seen Jagger run the ball at times, but that's not his strongest suit. He's a great pocket passer, a great presence in there, but Justice just provides a nice little triple option look.
Yeah, probably without going into too much detail, Jagger's really been battling his body. I mean, he's a unbelievably tough competitor. You see that out there. I mean, he takes some shots. He's just one of those guys that keeps getting up and just keeps pushing forward. Some of the wins we've had, you think all the way back to Pikeville, the last drive against Lindsay where we unfortunately were just a few inches short. And then some of those great things, even the second half there, boom, boom, right, gives us a big lead and puts us kind of in a good position to start the second half. And then you throw in this young, talented, fresh guy who's got the ability to make a lot of plays with his legs, who's got this extreme level of arm talent pushing the ball down the field. But the thing I'm most proud of and really exceeded the expectations with Justice was just his execution of the offense. He doesn't look like a lot of times a guy that's just playing his 4th, 5th, 6th game of college football that this time last year was playing high school football in Tennessee. And that's really helped us because the other team is having to spend time game planning for both guys and saying, when this guy comes in, think about this. When this guy comes in, think about this. But they've both shown that they can do a little bit of both.
Well, we'll give you a quick break, and we'll be back on Under Center with Jake Russell.
Jason, let's go see your room.
No, that's not right. How was it? Is it good?
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, but with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. And you can change the outcome. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back to Under Center with Jake Russell. I'm your host, Collin Sheffield. Alongside me is Assistant Sports Information Director and Videographer, Zach Clements. Zach, you have a very unique job. It's one that I think a lot of people across sports, if they're sports fans, whoever, would probably love your style of job. They'd almost be envious. Of course, it's got its downsides when you get so busy, but it's one of those things that everybody certainly would love. You get to be behind the camera, on the sidelines, and do creative video as well, so you get to be on that side of things, not just live games. But tell me a little bit more just about your day as it pertains to your job.
Yeah, it's really fun. Some of the things we do creative-wise is still the highlight kind of role. I kind of started that whenever I got here, but it's been more adaptive to kind of the way videography is the scene that we're always changing. It's going to the more TikTok-style reels, Instagram-style reels, and stuff like that, and we went to more highlight-based, also inducing hype videos. That's been a really big thing with the football and the soccers, and now the basketball is kind of hype videos. You're kind of seeing a lot of those, and we're trying to still maintain that stage of being the lead videography kind of company across the NAI, and also make noise around the D1, D2 kind of ranks as well. But it's kind of interchanging. Every single day we're doing something different, and obviously with 30-some-odd teams, you kind of lose track of how many, but it's something different every single day. We're doing athlete spotlights, which is really cool. We've got a couple scheduled of those of some nationally ranked teams. Women's soccer's coming up, and they're looking to host NAI. It's been really good all around the fall, and it kind of keeps us on our toes and busy with the intermingle of highlights, but also keeping the content changing so nothing ever gets really too dull.
Where would people go to find this content after games, during games, whatever? How do you all disseminate that information?
All over, really. Social media, Campbellsville Tigers on Facebook, Seville Tigers on Instagram, the TikTok. Also in charge of stories, stats, photos, videos, graphics, all of those. Instagram has really been our main push. With the international side of things, that's how they use Instagram to communicate, and that's where we have this year, I think we've gained 600 followers just since August, pushing all of that. So all of that Facebook stories will go out. Our website, campbellsvilletigers.com, you can go there, find all the rosters, stats, schedules, stuff like that, and busy weekends and crossover season, as you all know it, coming up soon.
If you take, I don't want to call it unique because there are a lot of schools that use interns and things, and you take a little bit of a bigger role in some of the heavy-hitting sports, but this is a very student-led team. You got a lot of students. I mean, I've been in that office at times, and it's absolutely packed with students. Everybody's working on individual projects. Talk to us a little bit about that.
It's very unique, like you said, the way we do it. I'm overall the creative video guy, but underneath of me, I have 2 GAs. Guilherme, he's a graduate student from Brazil, phenomenal. Went to film school, has worked on 3 major movies. And then I also have Chris Thomas, who's on the football team, wide receiver. And then underneath them, I have about 6 or 7 work-study, workship, part-time. They do an outstanding job. I'm kind of more the highlight basis kind of manager role, and then G kind of leads those creative projects, the GDs you may have seen for homecoming and senior days, first home games. We kind of do like a special project to kind of get those introduced into the realm. But I'm super blessed. This is the biggest department that we've had up to here, so I can't thank the athletics for buying in enough. We have 5 total GAs, and that goes for photography, also stats and stuff too like that. We've been blessed.
Since we are under center, let's talk a little bit about this football team. Obviously, they've had a tremendous year. I kind of mentioned it a little bit. It's one of those things where perhaps, a lot of people didn't expect this, but all the people in the field house certainly did. What's it been like on the sidelines, in that unique perspective, getting to do things, you know, right next to head coach Jake Russell. You're right next to all the players. You're down on the sideline, right for big moments. What is that stuff like?
It's really incredible because this year I felt like there's been more of a buy-in. These kids understand kind of what we do. We're putting their stuff out there. They make my job super, super easy. And talking about Jake Russell, Jake's one of my closest friends here. I actually texted him when the job opened and was kind of hoping that he would apply for it and get here. We talked. I went to school with him in 14 and 15. That makes me feel old. Probably shouldn't have done that. But, no, he's a great guy. I love Jake and love that staff in general. They buy in. Anything we need, including the players, they are the first to jump. As soon as we need something, they will be there to help us. It doesn't matter what it is. But being on the sideline, it's one of my favorite things to be because you kind of get that experience and being able to portray that for the people back home, the families especially, because a lot of them are from far away. They don't get to come maybe for 1 or 2 games a year. But being able to travel on the road and still give them that aspect of what it's like inside the locker room, on the sideline, in mid-game, it's incredible.
What's been your favorite part of this season? Favorite moment? Of course, there's so many. You've been on the sideline for the Pikeville game where we scored in the last 14 seconds. Big things going on. What's been your favorite moment so far?
Favorite moment so far? Probably, I would say the Weber game. It was a very tested team. Weber's played a lot of close games, and also it was our first true kind of road game, and it was coming off of that big game at Pikeville. We kind of settled in early and kind of maintained it, and the recruits, they were there for Weber, and they come and a lot of people don't know this, but they joined our sideline. And they were like, Coach, y'all are like Bama, y'all are like Bama. So it was kind of cool seeing that and kind of taking waves because people aren't really respecting, I think, the season that Campbellsville is having. And I've known it all along. The coaching staff that Jake's put together, they're really, really great. They form really, really well together. And being there at Weber and kind of seeing those recruits kind of switch sides and kind of open up a little bit, it's been great.
Everybody had to get super rehydrated. You all down on the sidelines. Yeah. We were in a metal storage container. It was hot. Yeah. I've never drank so much water at a post-game meal in my life than we did there. Yeah. But thank you for joining today. I truly appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
When we come back, we'll sit down and talk with head coach Jake Russell about the upcoming matchup with the Georgetown Tigers here on Under Center with Jake Russell.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back to Under Center with Jake Russell. I'm your host and voice of Tiger football, Collin Sheffield. Alongside me for the final segment is head coach Jake Russell. Coach Russell, the Tigers have another big one, and there's no bones about it. This is a must-win to keep all the hopes and dreams alive of getting into the playoffs. Of course, there's a lot of different scenarios that can happen, but the easiest way to do that is to get this victory as you take on number 12, Georgetown. You all jump back up into the poll, number 24. So this is a top 25 matchup. It'll be a huge win in terms of the eyes of many. Of course, a lot of people will see the Tigers, Campbellsville Tigers, as the underdogs here. We get back to the old rivalry. But I don't think that a lot of people may feel that way, especially in that field house.
Yeah, definitely in the field house. I think that's what has made this a special group, is just their belief in themselves and each other. And, those are the guys that have been doing it since early January after winter break, all the hard work they've put in over the spring, over the summer. We even talked about that towards that end of the Bethel game. Said, this is why you've done all that work, defense. This is why you've done all that work, offense, that had, with all the struggles we had, that last drive to get 2 first downs to end the game was a huge drive for us. Why it's not pretty and didn't put points on the board, it's secure to win. Now you get a team coming in. It's a great traditional rival for our school in all sports. It's the Battle of the Tigers. It's 2 traditional powerhouses in the state of Kentucky. Georgetown football carries a lot of weight. I grew up not far from Georgetown. Was 8 and 9 years old when they won their back-to-back national titles there, 2000, 2001, I believe. And they've been a really good program for a long time. Obviously Coach Oliver has been a super successful NAI football coach, a national title under his resume, countless conference champions. They're the reigning conference champions. And I think it's just going to be an unbelievable and fun atmosphere on Saturday. Like you said, it's got the ranked matchup weight behind it now. And it's just what I told the guys yesterday was, beating Georgetown was not one of the goals we put on our player manual. We've never once before this week talked about we got to beat Georgetown this year. Georgetown is just another opponent, a great opponent, opponent that's got the same thing on the table we've got this week, that's a step towards those goals that we've talked about all year. And so our guys are going to be ready to play. Our crowd's going to bring us a lot of energy. We're honoring 25 seniors. I can't believe that. It's one of the reasons we're really good, and I think you're going to see great energy and passion, not just out of those guys, but their teammates playing for them as well.
How tough might it be for a senior on senior day?
Yeah.
You kind of maybe get a little unlocked at times. You may not be as locked in. You could let that play into you in the wrong way, right? So you can say to yourself, well, this is my last time here, and then one thing goes wrong, and you're like, oh, I can't end my career like this. So how do you keep your guys that are seniors and maybe facing that last time here, keep them locked into what this is?
It's a whirlwind of emotions for sure. I actually think really even as you get kind of halfway into your last year of playing football for most of these guys, but definitely college football, you start to get that, unique feeling. It's kind of like when you get in that last few weeks of high school, you're excited about the next chapter, but you realize my life's about to change, and that's a reality for these guys. We got a good group of guys that are actually graduating in December, so really soon after the season, they're going to start a whole new chapter of their life. A lot of guys that are graduating in the spring that are going to be that as well. So it's definitely something as a coach that maybe you would worry about and think, man, the emotions of the day. For a lot of them, it's going to be a very emotional. Their families here, their support systems here. The last time, possibly on the field, we hope we host a playoff game there, but possibly the last time, playing a football game on that field. And we've got a crazy mix of guys that have played here 1 year, guys that came along when we came 2 years ago, and then guys that have been here, recruited here, came here out of high school, and have been here 4 or 5 years. So it's going to be a very special day for us to honor all those different guys, see their families, really support them. And then I think once the game starts, a lot of that stuff just goes out the window, especially with this group who's done such a good job all year handling all the distractions and the craziness of a football season.
How do you think it could be when you face a team that's kind of been there, done that? Like in this scenario, you all are trying to do things that this program hasn't seen for a while, and this team's done that. They have a head coach that's done that. He's done it for years. Same with a lot of these players. So what's it like trying to gear your players up to that level in a point where we're a little new to this, we're a little new to this area of football at the moment. So how do you get them into that zone?
Yeah. Do you have the answer? Because you
I
tell me,
wish I did.
And that way I can tell my team today. Like you said, not just Coach Oliver, but Georgetown football in themselves, this is their standard. This is their expectation. This is year to year where they expect to be, and most years they are. For us, we've had some great runs in our program history, some great eras, and now we're trying to reset a standard, set a new standard that this every year, late in the season, and maybe this becomes the great rivalry where, man, every time when Georgetown and Campbellsville or Campbellsville and Lindsay or whoever it is late in the season play, the conference championship and a lot is on the line. And so To do it, you've got to experience it. Some team that comes along is going to have to be the first.
Yeah.
I think this team with 25 seniors, with the adversity they've gone to, showing they can win in all different ways. Think about the U-Pike game, the craziness of that win. We've won in big blowouts, right? The Lindsay loss, which held a lot of merit and held a lot of learning value, and then the Bethel win, which was that was the first game we've won that wasn't a double-digit win, right? And so now you've checked that off the box, and I really think this group is motivated to be the group that resets not just the excellence, but sets a new standard of excellence. And I'm excited to see how they play on Saturday.
So you take on a team that's number 12. Obviously, they're a very good team. Arguably one of the most complete teams that you've faced all season. They have a very established quarterback in Garrett Sludnaker. He's been there for many years. Darius Neal, who's been absolutely fantastic back there and running back. And they have a pretty good defense as well. So what is the key for your team in this game?
All three phases have to play really well. You look at a game like Saturday where the defense and the special teams played really well, but the offense was probably an average performance overall. If any of our three phases are average or below average, we're going to be in trouble, right? We're going to be in a game where you're going to have to do something at the end there, kind of one of the miracle wins or some come from behind type of thing. They don't make mistakes. They don't shoot themselves in the foot. They don't turn the ball over, commit penalties. They are extremely well coached. They have a very high level of discipline, and they just play this brand of football that stacks up a lot of wins and is really hard to beat. So we're going to have not just individual guys, but units, the offense, the defense, the special teams make, these exceptional plays. And that's why they've worked so hard. That's why we practice what we practiced. At this point in the year, they know every play we're going to run. We have a pretty good idea of what they're doing on both sides of the ball in special teams. And it's going to come down to execution and one guy on our team winning his battle against one guy on their team. And if we can win the majority of those one-on-one battles that happen every play in football, I think this is going to be a classic game.
Coach, best of luck this weekend. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
The Tigers take on the Georgetown Tigers. It is the battle of the Tigers here in Campbellsville, Kentucky at Finley Stadium this Saturday at 2 p.m. So be sure to make plans to be there. As much as I would love for you to tune in and go to the YouTube channel and all of that, I would rather you be there in stadium making a lot of noise. But as always, if you can't be there, make plans to tune in on our YouTube channel or on 88.7 The Tiger and the TuneIn app. Kickoff is at 2. Myself and Khalil Baker will have the coverage for that one. And I'd also like to thank you for tuning in to Under Center with Jake Russell.